circle of giving in their time. One turn.
We began working on Gulf Coast advocacy in the aftermath of the storm. After the initial recovery efforts were made, it became very clear that while money was being allocated to the coast, that in fact it was not going to those most vulnerable and most in need. In fact, the folks at the front of the line were the business interests and government allies, and we saw the diversion of massive amounts of money that was allocated for things like the expansion of the Biloxi port, when in fact it hadn't been damaged by the storm, but the governor of Mississippi diverted $800 million of money that was supposed to go towards affordable housing and put it into something that would aid the industries, but not the people who live and work in the region. So we knew that we needed to have great vigilance and to demand oversight of the money that had been allocated, and to demand and help lift up the voices of people who were the most impacted by the storm and who were so left out of the recovery.
I think that ultimately in this situation right now, in the post-Katrina recovery, there are not enough resources without the federal government being involved to ensure a full and just recovery. Community organizations can't do it alone. I think community organizations filled a gap left by government, but government has to be involved. Government has a role to play. And we'd be fooling ourselves to think that it can be done without government. And so that's where policy and advocacy come in. You know, that we need funding from the government, but we also need policies from the government to ensure that funding goes where it needs to go, and to ensure again that this doesn't happen again.
The support from UUSC, UUA has allowed us to launch the voices of people directly affected into the national debate. We've been able to project the people, the stories, and the analysis of grassroots communities. And we've been able to launch those voices into a national debate that excluded them.